Hello there, everyone, and welcome to this evening's broadcast of Chill Critical. I'm your host, Zayden1, and today we have another unboxing for us. We're going to be doing a little bit of a comparison of the brand new Nintendo GameCube Controller, available for purchase to Switch Online members, and compared to a few other controllers. This will be an unboxing of this product. We're going to go ahead and, like I said, we're going to compare it a little bit. As you can see, I've got my original GameCube controller right here. This is an old one, as you can probably tell by the dust and whatnot on this. This is an OG, like back in the early 2000s. This is what I was Mario Karting with. This is what I was Smash Brothering with. This is what I was Wind Wakering with. And here we have one of the newer, actually this is my friend's, one of the newer Smash Brothers specific ones, and we're going to be comparing it to this one, along with the new Pro Controller as well. So let me go ahead and move these out of the way. We will begin by looking over this box. This box doesn't have as much to go over as the other ones, but that's fine because this isn't a really retail product, not in the traditional sense. This product is meant more for, as I said, this is exclusive to Nintendo Online members. You're not going to be finding this on a shelf, so there's different things to worry about it, but I can say the aesthetics of this box are very pleasing. The nice red color, once again, red associated with Nintendo, specifically also used a lot with the Switch Online. The Switch Online, a catalog of things that Nintendo offers. We can see it's got that branding here. So this is GameCube Controller, and notice how they picked the purple one. The purple one, probably one of the most iconic colors for the GameCube. Of course, I had a black one. I don't know where my black controller is. I would have loved to do a Wavebird as well, but I have not found my Wavebird in years, because I actually feel like this is, just because of the fact that it's wireless, it almost would have been a little fun if it was looked like a Wavebird, but regardless, let's go ahead and take a look at the top of the box. Just basic Nintendo logo right there. And then just basic information on the back of the box. So let's go ahead and see how easy this here is to open. We've got a little flap here on the side. I can see the box also feels very nice. It feels very nice to the touch. It looks very aesthetically pleasing. I really enjoy how basic it is. So let's go ahead and we can see how do they intend this to be opened. Okay, so we can get it from the side there. Let's go ahead and do the slide out. Okay, nice and simple slide out. This box is not too sturdy though. Probably to save materials. This cardboard is a little bit cheaper than I felt like the Switch 2's box was, but I haven't gotten any of these other ones. I haven't gotten the only other recreation controller I have is the one from the Super Nintendo Classic. So maybe all the boxes are similarly thin, I'm going to assume. Yeah, this nice, lovely, shiny piece of plastic here that was causing quite a bit of trouble trying to find a place to record that didn't reflect this too much. We can go ahead and take that out now. Once again, a very interesting box. Once again, very economically designed, it feels like. Let's go ahead and slide this out. So we had a little bit of plastic. It looked like it was a little misaligned. And we have a cable. A cable that seems to be, let's see the length of this cable. And take the twist tie off and okay, once again, a slightly underwhelming cable, once again, that we tend to have here. But that's fine. It's still a USB. It's USB-C to USB 2. Memory recalls. So that's nice. That's nice. We can move that out of the way. We can move some of this packaging out of the way as well. Like I said, this box is very nice. It's a very nice, sturdy box, but I have to remember to not hang on to the box forever, as I'm sure some of us tend to do. And here it is. It's much lighter than I thought it would be. It's much lighter. This one feels oddly heftier to me. That may not be accurate. Actually, no. they feel about the same in the hand, I would suppose. Except for this one has a cable, of course. So now we're going to continue to, let's see how the buttons feel. Oh, that joystick, it's nice and tense. It's a nice tense, you can still feel the nice grooves there. The plastic is this is very similar. This is very similar. I will say this, now this could be from years of use, but I would say that this plastic is almost smoother. It's smoother, I would say. See, this one has a very bit more of a textured feel, and you can actually tell because even compared to the Smash Brothers one, this one's also fairly smooth as well, quite rather mimicking the original GameCube controller. Let's say that this one kind of has like a nice little, almost like a little indents. It kind of has a little bit of a texture to it. It's very nice to hold. Let's see like I said, the joystick is nice. It feels nice and tight. It feels nice and tight. Actually, the joystick feels very similar to this joystick. This joystick here, it's very similar feel, very grippy. So the D-pad feels about the similar. Same thing, feels like there's slightly more resistance in this C-stick here in comparison to this one here. We got our start button, and if we take a look at the top, if we look at the difference, we can see there's a few more options. There's a few more options. Of course, we have the port for charging, but because this is supposedly also just a controller for the Nintendo Switch 2 line of products, we have the various things that we need for Switch 2 controller. As you can see, we have our C button for capture. We have our home button, if you could see there, and we have our screenshot button. I said C for capture, C for chat. This is the capture button, just the blank one. Just the blank one there. We can see the indicator lights to see it's like at the top which one we're on, and the sync button. I will say it's very interesting. It seems like they've gone for aesthetic nostalgia over a little bit of function, because as we can see, both of these have all the buttons required of a modern controller. It does not have these new GL buttons, but it even has the left bumper called here ZL. But look how tiny that is. Look how tiny that is. It's a little. It's just a little guy. Just a little guy. It feels nice to click. It feels nice to click. And so is this one too. This one's very clicky. It's very clicky. But I guess if we're comparing it to the original one, this one feels a little mushy. It really is a little mushy in comparison to this one here. This one's it's got a click to it. I'd say the same thing for the buttons. The buttons feel nice and snappy. Let's see, if we're comparing them to the original one, these, it's hard to tell whether you're not feeling, but that's what I'm here for. These are a little mushy. These are a little mushy. They still feel very nice. I've always loved this controller. I've always felt like this is one of the better controllers, and if you saw the other video, you'll know my mild frustration with Nintendo never really doing more with these. They just kind of let everyone else kind of continue with them, and they just refuse to use them, and I don't know why. These are, I think, a good function to have on a controller, especially if you like any type of racing game, or any type of game where you have driving. Being able to go down a certain amount to simulate the amount you're pressing on gas makes any game easier. We've been playing a lot of Cyberpunk 2077, and it's one of my biggest pet peeves is like I feel like the gas is just go or not, and I don't really like having to like feather the gas button. Like that just doesn't really simulate driving. But this does have those, along with that nice click there. Like I said, very, very nice piece of tech overall. Of course, we're going to have a little bit more on this. You can even see it's even down to where the screws are even in the same spot. We even have the Nintendo logo in the same position as the original, but of course, this has GameCube. It's a little hard to see, but it has some stuff talking about GameCube on there, GameCube controller. Whereas this one has some other type of information. We can compare that to the Smash one, which has similar. It also says GameCube, because I guess it still works as the GameCube. And you can see it also still has the Nintendo, but once again, similar buttons on both. This is very nice and nice. I will say this stick is it's very much a GameCube stick. It does not have the weirdly glossy smoothness that this controller has. Like, it doesn't have the nice ZL buttons. But one thing I've always enjoyed about the GameCube controller is just how smartly designed it is. I was discussing this a few days ago with my spouse and some friends, and how she knew where all the buttons were. Like, not that she's not a gamer, she's a gamer, she's played with these, but maybe not the type that's going to talk about those types of things as distinctly or directly as I would. As just talking about how easy it was to know where all the buttons were. And I've always thought that. Nintendo's always been forward thinking with that. At times. And while I do like this is classic, and I guess maybe this button type is more universal and standard to what most people expect. Even if I have to glance down, I still have to glance down or memorize where each button is. But this, it's very easy to tell what button is what. You can see the A button's the very obviously large button. You have your B button. These two buttons here. It makes it much easier to design these. And say, but that's it's very nice. But there's not too much more to go on off of that. The rubber feels very nice and textured and grippy. And like I said, that was just kind of my piece on the design of things. So I'd love to see more controllers take advantage of this, because I think we're going to certainly do some tests and see how a controller like this stacks up to the modern counterpart, especially on usability, because as I've stated, yeah, this is a controller designed for humans. This is a controller designed for one that's like, I haven't been playing games for 20 years. I don't know what any of these buttons do. I have to go down and look at them. I never know which one I'm pressing. This one's very easy. It's very obvious. It uses color language. It uses shape language. It has a lot of usability features. The A button's the primary button you use on most Nintendo consoles. So let's make that big and in the middle, because you're going to be pressing that one the most. B is kind of your secondary. You can tell it's a smaller version of the A button. Smaller version of the A button for more specialized uses. And the Y and X, maybe not as used as often, depending on the game, but they do at least still have their own distinct bean shape. I would say that these can be a little bit hard to remember at times, especially because it's reversed over the years. You can see that the X is the top of this one, where X is actually here on this one, where Y is there. And that wouldn't be as big of a difference, or a bit of a concern, I would say, if it was a little bit easier to see. As discussed in the last unboxing, these are pretty easy to see at a glance. Using it, it's pretty easy to see at a glance. The letters stand out. This one, the shape language and the color is what helps, but these are a little hard to see. And they're a little bit too similar in shape and color, just a flip of that shape and color. So that's the only thing. But other than that, I really like how thin this is. There's just something I've always loved about the GameCube controller. I remember the first time I held one. Actually, I think this is the first time. As one gets older, those memories tend to clash. And I have some memories that don't seem to quite line up. I seem to remember the first time you holding this controller at a Circuit City, at a demo kiosk. But for some reason, I thought I was playing Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, and I don't know if the dates line up on that, because I definitely had a GameCube at Christmas when it came out that year. I don't remember exactly how early into the year it came out, but I know that by the time Christmas came around, that's when I got mine. So maybe I had used it, or maybe I hadn't. It's hard to say, but ever since, I can still distinctly remember the first time I touched that controller. This was back in early internet days, you know. I think we were still calling it, like the Dolphin at the time, like online, its code name before we knew it was GameCube. So in my mind, it still was kind of like the Dolphin. And I just loved this controller. I'm just so excited to have one back, even though it was actually my spouse that really requested this one. She really wanted us to be able to get one of these while they were in stock. And I guess we will see if how much we enjoy it. Because we really have been wanting to use this as almost a secondary controller on other games. You know, we've been playing some Mario Kart. GameCube kids, of course, not GameCube kids, but you know, millennials. So, grew up playing stuff like this. So the Soul Calibur 2, the F-Zero GX, like the GameCube Online is certainly going to be getting a lot of use out of this. And now we've got not only this, but these other controllers we have. I do have some other ones as well that we can use the hub on. But that was the Nintendo GameCube Online controller. This one was a quicker video, at least a quicker video for how long I can sometimes go on about these. But like I said, we'll be doing a little bit of comparison. Hopefully I'll be able to do another video on my final thoughts after using it and maybe come up with a recommendation. As I've mentioned before, all these controllers are expensive. If you saw my last one, this one, it's a very nice controller. I don't think you need it for the price, but if you can afford it, it is a nice thing to have. I've enjoyed using it. And we will see similarly for this. How's this compared to just plugging this up with the hub? And how much more extra functionality do we get out of it as just a Player 2 controller? Do we keep grabbing this, or do we go back to the Switch One Pro controller, or continue using the Joy-Cons too? But anyway, thank you for joining us on this evening's broadcast of Chill Critical. I have been your host, Zayden1. Please remember to like and subscribe. Hit that bell icon if you want more content like this. And until next time, everyone, we're encouraging you to engage brightly. Thank you, and have a good day.